Let's
Yep.
take it to the beginning because, of course, we know about Missing You, Not Your Friend, and all those great joints. But, Case, I'll kick it
Mhm.
off with you. Where did this working relationship really begin? I'm assuming it was after your second album, or was it even before that?
Now it was after the second album. Tina Davis had I think she had "Missing You." I think was the first record
Mm.
that she played for me. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then we got in the studio and we went from there.
No, it was different.
It was different. What was the
It
first
was a
joint we
long
did?
that was a long time ago. Cause think about it. Remember, me and Tim was in the studio for something different. And we were just going through some songs we had did recently during that time.
Hmm.
And it was one of the songs came on was Missing You that we had did on Joe.
Mm.
Hmm.
We were at the record plant in LA.
Hmm.
JoJo Brim peeks into the room and was like, yo, man, what was that joint y'all was just playing right before that? And we was like, oh yeah, it's a song that we did on Joe, probably won't go on his album. And he was like, what? So he gets on the phone. That's when he start calling you and Lior.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, man, I want this song right now. He not using it, he not using it. And we was like, no, because, and we was told him why we think at the time we thought he wasn't using it, which
Hmm.
was his management said that they didn't think it was a good radio song, ironically.
Yeah, there's a
And
little
so
wrong
then
there.
remember that's how it all started. Like,
I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that.
yes, it was for the Nutty Professor because JoJo was working on the Nutty Professor soundtrack.
Hmm. What's funny is I was literally texting JoJo right before I dialed in. He probably
Oh,
sitting there waiting on me to
nice.
reply. That's funny.
Nice. Yeah, that's how it first happened.
But that was the first joint we did though.
The very first joint.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
that's the
started.
I yeah, I did remember it being the first joint. I didn't remember that at Record Plant because I remember I was working on the album in Record Plant.
Mm.
Like I was going back and forth, and I was coming back from
Yeah.
Jersey to
Yeah,
LA, and I
because
would
you
stay for
wasn't
like
even in
blocks of
LA
time.
at the time. You wasn't in LA at the time, but JoJo was there
But
working.
JoJo was there. Okay,
He was there. He just happened to peek in the room. That's how we first met JoJo. He was like, man, that
okay.
joint y'all was playing just crazy. I think I want that for Case. And we was like, oh, word. So that's how it all started,
Oh,
man.
okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. That's dope. That's
And
dope.
so then after that, it was like, they're working on the thing, whatever, and then the soundtrack. And then they also said, Case also working on his new record too.
Mhm.
And so but then that's kind of when all like because then shortly after that's when you came out and re-recorded it, right?
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
I came
remember
out.
shortly after that.
I want to say, what's funny about that is that same week that I recorded "Missing You," because and I always tell the story. I got there on Monday.
Mm.
I was supposed to go in the studio with y'all on like Tuesday morning, I think. But I hung out Monday night with Ja, and then Tuesday I couldn't sing. So I spent all Tuesday, Wednesday trying to get my voice back. Well,
Oh,
I got my voice back on Wednesday, and I got happy and went out with Ja again, and
Oh
we did
man.
"Living It Up." We did "Living It Up" that night.
oh wow.
And the next day I couldn't talk, I couldn't sing nothing. And then
That's
finally
why you was
Friday
hoarse.
came.
You're right. That's why you was
Right,
hoarse
yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah.
song.
And then Friday they was like, okay, it's Friday. If we don't get it done today, we're not gonna be able to do it. So I was like, I can't talk, but I'm gonna do as much as I can. I'm gonna give whatever I got. But yeah, that whole week was crazy because I don't even know where that came from, not being able to sing that week.
Wow. I,
It
I
was crazy because that's what made it. That was ended up being like one of the most memorable parts of the record.
That's
But
the
at the
part
end,
everybody
I
talks
can't
about,
sing
which
anymore because you really couldn't sing no more.
I really. And what's funny, if you remember, Bob, I was in there because remember y'all told me to sing it once. I sang it. Then you said, "Can you do it one more time?" I was like, "I did it." And when I got to the end, I'm like at the window like this, and y'all was in there vibing. So I walked out and tapped. I was like, "That's it." But what's crazy is people always talk about their part, and that's crazy to me.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
man.
in there fighting for my life.
Right, right. Yes, man. And it was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
yeah.
there's just so many joints that we have to talk about here. But Case, let me backtrack here. You're starting to work on that third album. Were you aware
Mhm.
of Tim and Bob at the time? Like, did you know the work that they had done when Tina Davis and JoJo came to you and said, we got this record? Like,
Yeah, because one of my favorite joints at that time, well, it was a little older than that, but one of my favorite joints was "Let's Make Love," the 112 joint. I used to
wow,
love
Oh,
that record.
that's a
wow.
dope.
I used to
Nice.
love that record. Yeah, I used to love that record. I
That's
used to,
on the Money
and
Train
back then,
soundtrack.
yeah, on the Money
Oh,
Train. It was funny.
yes.
Yeah, back then I
Wow.
used to be able to sing the Duran part. I think I sang it in the studio for you one time. I can't do it no more though. But
Wow.
and I used to
Hey,
love
that's
that record.
crazy.
Yeah, and then I like
Wow,
when Boyz II
appreciate that,
Men
man. I
stuff.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite joints. So I was like, oh yeah, definitely, let's go.
Wow, that was a sleeper,
Yeah,
man.
That's
that
a
was
I
my
wish that would have
joint.
been on that. I wish that would have been on that album, actually.
Me too, because I
yeah.
remember still trying to get a record deal. I would listen to that song all the time. And that
Wow.
was like what,
Really?
94? I think that was like 94.
Yeah, that was early. That was early.
Yeah, that was
94, early
94. And
95. Yeah.
I got a record deal in 95. But that was
Okay.
my Let's Make Love was my joint, yo.
Wow.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
That's an amazing.
yeah, definitely.
Bob, what about you? When JoJo comes to you and says, "I want this record on Case," that's after Happily Ever After. That's after Faded Pictures. Like, did you know all about Case at that point, or did
Oh,
yeah?
what? Touch Me, Tease Me is one of my favorite, probably my favorite up-tempo joint of the 90s, like R&B.
Wow.
Come on,
Good
man.
looking.
Touch Me, Tease Me.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate it.
so, but yeah, it happened just like I was just saying. We was in the studio working on something else. And we just like before the session started, just going through some songs, whatever. And we was listening to the joint, the Missing You, but Joe's version. And we
Yeah.
was probably pissed because at the time his manager was like, nah, man, radio ain't gonna play that, man. It ain't gonna be a radio record. And so we probably was listening to it and pissed. And so then another song came on after that. And then Jojo Brim walks into peeks into the room, was like, hey man, excuse me, guys. Hey, what was that y'all was just playing, man? That joint was crazy, man. I think, what was that? And so we told him what it was, whatever. And he asked, is Joe using it? We was like, we don't think so, because, by this time, at least a month had gone by. There was no movement on, okay, go ahead and get a rough mix or get a mix going. His manager kept saying, they ain't gonna work at radio, just kept talking down on the song, whatever. It was just like, nah, I don't think they're using it. And so then, that's when the other events happened where like once the ball started rolling with the Nutty Professor 2 soundtrack,
Yeah.
and then they start saying, yeah, this could even be possibly lead into Case's, new album. It was like, man, okay, this will be dope. So then that's when we out of nowhere get a call from Kadar Massenberg. And that was Joe's manager. And it's like, yo, man, what y'all doing, man? No, we still want the record. I was like, Kadar, you've been saying for the last 2 months, this ain't it, it's not this, it ain't radio friendly, it ain't this, it ain't that. And so it was like, nah, we still want it. And it was this whole thing, man. And so it went into litigation.
Wow.
And so, then it ended up being the settlement where Case could release it domestically, but not abroad, and vice versa. Joe could release it abroad and not domestically.
Wow.
And so, like, that's how it happened, as crazy as it was. But and just being honest, like everyone favors Case's version.
Yep.
And so because Joe's version is dope, but it's more chill, it's more laid
It's
back.
smooth,
And
right?
and I actually think Joe's
Yeah.
version doesn't have the acoustic. I don't even
No,
think
it
I have
doesn't.
put the acoustic
The
guitar.
production is
Yeah.
a little different on it.
Yeah, the production is
Yeah.
different. And so again, we didn't think that it was good. It was almost sound like a demo because after we
Right, it wasn't
recorded
gonna be
it that
used. Yeah.
night, yeah, it was like
Yeah.
it just seemed like it wasn't gonna pop off. And so but anyway, like everyone always gravitated to Case's version. And I I love them both. I'm obviously a fan of both of them. Of course, a fan of Joe's too. And so we wrote it with Joe. And so a fan of him too. But man, everybody loves Case version, man. And so yeah, he killed it, man. And
Yeah,
so and
that
of
was a
course
rough
that was
day.
the segue. That was the segue into all those other songs.
And we have to talk about those other songs.
Yeah,
But
after that we was in.
yeah,
Yeah, after that we
Yeah.
was in nonstop. Yeah.
Case, let me ask you about Missing You, because I would argue that, like, for me, I love your version more
Mhm.
just because of that grit in your voice. Like like when I listen to that song, I can really feel the pain. And now I know it's probably because you were sick at that time. But like I could really
Yeah.
feel just
He
that.
was really in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy because I can never sing it like the record anymore because I was sick. Like I
yeah.
would have to be sick to sing it just like the record for it to sound just like the record, which is crazy.
But Case, when
Oh,
you
man.
first recorded that record, did you know it would be a smash? Because in
I had no
hindsight,
idea.
it's 2020. But like, what were your thoughts when you heard that song?
I thought it was cool, but you gotta understand with me, I have no ear for up tempo music.
Mm,
Like when we made Touch Me, Tease Me, I made it because everybody around me said it was dope. And afterwards, when I saw their reaction, I'm like, it's dope. Oh, okay, cool. I like it.
What?
Yeah, I
Man,
have
that
no
joint
ear
was
for up tempo,
crazy, man.
but I have
Wow.
no ear for. But I could pick a ballad in my sleep, but up
Yeah.
tempos, I have no ear for up tempos. Like I don't know. Like I mean, it may be one or two, but I've never picked. I remember there's a couple of up tempos that I wrote, and we did them in the studio. And to me, they was the greatest thing ever. Everybody in the studio was like, "Yeah, nah." So they never left the studio. Like I have no ear for up tempos, none, none, none.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
very
wow.
rare
That's
that
crazy.
I'll pick it that I hear an up tempo and be like, "Oh, that's it."
Wow.
That's rare for me.
Wow, that's interesting, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rare.
Bob, did you hear it when you first made that song that it would end up being a #1 smash? Because like you already had smashes at that point. Like, did you know that was one of those?
You know what? If I think like I thought that it would do good, and like if people like if radio, because again, this is coming from like Joe's manager at the time saying, "Man, I'm telling you, man, radio is not gonna play that joint. I'm
Yeah.
telling you." So kind of like almost being apprehensive towards that. It was like we knew that it would if radio gave it a chance, it should do good at radio. But if you ask me, did I expect to this point, like over 25 years later, and it's like
Yeah,
bigger now than it was then. It's like
Yeah.
that part is kind of crazy, and it's cool
yeah,
that the younger generation embraces it like that, and and sampling it and putting it in
Yeah.
other songs and stuff like that. So that's
yeah.
that's
It's the
very
last show on my.
rewarding.
It's the last song on my show. It's the
Wow.
last song, and as soon as it drops, as soon as they hit a guitar, they go crazy. Everybody stands up. I don't
Yeah.
even have to
Oh
sing it. Yeah, I
wow.
don't even have to sing it.
Are you serious? Oh wow.
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't even have to sing it. Nope.
Wow, that's cool, man. That's
Bob,
cool.
Bob, for the production heads out there, can you get a little technical and talk about the creation of that track and what went into that?
Well, when Tim had gotten the beat, like going back to the original way we did it, I know Tim had gotten that beat. He was like inspired. Well, I know we were both inspired from the Mary J joint, the everything, just like the rhythm of that. And so we knew we wanted to do something that felt like that. And so Tim, got the beat. At first, it was like when we did on the Joe version, it was almost just the sample and the beat.
Mm.
And we put little keyboards in it. It wasn't much more than the beat and the sample at first. And so then after we did the Joe version of a couple months later, that's when I said, yeah, I'm gonna put a guitar in here.
Yeah.
And so and that warmed it up a lot. Like that gave it like a completely different feel than the first version. And so yeah, man, and we just wanted it kind of be like the signature with our other songs, like
Yeah.
knocking drums, very warm, very melodic, and the hook at the forefront, you know, um, and everything complementing the hook, like just still making it more about the song. But yeah, man, that's kind of like the vibe that we was in. Um,
Yeah, that big payback sample never misses. Never,
yeah, yeah,
never.
man.
Yeah,
And so we just it was one of them things like it didn't like I said after I had put the guitar in, we didn't put much more in there, just a string here and there because it didn't really need
Yeah.
much else. Um, because of the hook in it, that fills up a lot of the track in itself. And so like, yeah, it was one of them things. It was one in terms of the track, it was kind of like less is more. We actually didn't put that much into the production as opposed to what we did like some other songs on the record. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, we all was very happy with it, man. And
yeah.
crazy that it's even bigger now.
Oh yeah.
Very, very grateful to
Yeah,
that.
it's definitely that's definitely crazy. Like when people come up to me and be like, "Oh, I love this song, that song. I love missing you." I'm like, they'd be like, "I'm 18." I'm like,
How do you know
"Okay,
that song?
the song is older than you." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy.
Oh
It's crazy.
shit.
That was my first number
Man.
one. That was
Wow.
that was my
Really?
yeah my first number one.
Wow.
Um, it got a Grammy nomination. What's crazy is I got nominated for a Grammy for Living It Up and for Missing You, and I was sick
Great.
that week did both them songs. Both of them got Grammy nominations.
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy. You know what?
That's absolutely crazy.
This is the funniest thing about this. Like a year later, man, a year and a half later, because after that, the success of that song, we did a huge production deal with Def Jam.
Mm.
And so I bought a G-Wagon, but it was before they even came to the States. So I had to, that's back when you had to like really like know somebody, or you had to know like an auto broker to even get a G-Wagon. This was before they
Because
were
back then
selling
only
them.
Janet Jackson had one. Yeah.
So check this out. I ordered the G-Wagon. I was so excited to get this car, man. And they was like, yeah, we found it. We found one for you. Because you have to either go to New Mexico or you can get it from the East Coast. It was like, we found you one and on East Coast. They said, but it's not brand new. The guy had to put like 500 miles on it.
Mm.
I was like, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So got the vehicle, whatever. So the day it got delivered, right? Get delivered to my house. And the driver said, man, the owner wants you to look in the glove compartment. He left a gift for you.
Mm.
I go in the glove compartment. Case, tell me, do you know about this? It's a cigar, and it's from Kadar Massenberg. Congrats on that Missing You record. That you were right.
Wow.
Nah, that's dope. I didn't know about that.
Kadar's. I had bought Kadar's G-Wagon. I didn't even know it.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
True
That's
story.
dope right there. That's dope.
True story.
Yeah, I had no idea.
The irony of that, he was like, no, I'm telling you, they ain't gonna do this, ain't gonna do that. The song blow up would lead us to get a nice bag from the label.
Yeah.
I went and got a G-Wagon in this Kadar's.
In his head.
And not that
That's
he needed
crazy.
to sell it. I want to be clear, but it wasn't like he needed to sell it. He just probably just got rid of it.
Right.
Because it literally didn't even have 1,000 miles on it.
Wow.
But like he said, like the owner left you a cigar and a note, and it was from Kadar. Like that Missing You record, you were right. That joint, congrats.
And you know
Enjoy
what?
the G-Wagon. And he had a cigar, he had a nice Cuban in there. Put a Cuban cigar in there.
You know what's crazy? I didn't know about the cigar part, but I remember I had bumped into Kedar. There was an auto broker in New York, and I was about to get the Porsche 911, and he was getting the Bentley, the Arnage.
Okay,
and
nice.
I was around the same time. So yeah, that's crazy. I never knew about the cigar though. That's crazy.
That's
so I was
crazy,
bumping into him there.
man.
That's crazy.
That's so crazy how life works sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's crazy. But we got to talk about these other joints too, Case. Like, how far after you guys record Missing You do you guys go back in and record those other batch of songs?
I want to say we did. I think that was around the spring or the summer of 2000 when we did Missing You.
Yeah, I think
it was around the springtime.
Yeah, I think probably about maybe a few weeks or a month, about a month later, you came out.
I was spending a lot of time out there. Yeah, I was spending a lot of time.
And
almost
we
that
booked
whole
that
summer
studio
in LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
We booked that studio out in the valley.
Yep.
Can't think of the name of it. It was right next to Will Smith's studio.
I know what you're talking about too.
But man,
and I saw something about it the other day.
Yeah, we believe it or not, we knocked out all those songs in about a week and a half.
Wow.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were doing like
maybe
a song
2
every
weeks.
day. Yeah, we were doing like a song every day. We
did like that whole album in like 2 weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Or like 90% of that album, you know?
Yeah, because we had that kind of chemistry. Like we would get in and be like, yo, what you think about this? I'm like, cool, let's cut it. And then we go, and then we come back the next day and maybe fix something on it. It'd be another joint. Like I come in, Bob be sitting there on the acoustic, and like he'll be playing something, and then Tim will be like, yo, that's dope. And then he'll start doing something. I go outside for a minute, I come back, it's a whole new track done. So
yeah. Next thing you know, somebody's got a hook or whatever, and then we were just flowing, man. And then we would talk about different concepts too, like, Not Your Friend, Sex Games. So we wanted to talk about things that was kind of like, would be like provocative to talk about, but stuff
like
that was real.
Even though.
I was going to talk about that one too. But Case, when you got into the studio with Tim and Bob, because you're a writer yourself, you've written a lot of your own hits. When you get with these two, and of course they're established at that point, they've had a bunch of hits. Like, what stood out to you at that time, just to work in the studio? Like, what kind of stood out?
Well, for me, the main thing that stood out was how fast that I could tell that they worked together for a long time
Mm.
because like literally like we'll be sitting around talking and then Bob would pick up the acoustic. He never stopped the conversation though. He just like playing, so we talking and he start playing something, and then we all talking and then he just start writing something and then like in 5 minutes he'd be like, yo, that's the hook, and they like it was so fast, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah, everything was happening
that's
so
the part.
fast.
Yeah, it happened so fast, and that's the part that stood out to me. The only other people that I worked with that worked that fast was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Like they was like that. Like
Wow.
it would just be
Wow.
like they ask me like 3 questions and be like, okay, give me 10 minutes. And I come back and they got almost the whole track done. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
dog, like
Nice.
they'll be like, what's your favorite song to sing? What's your favorite Jam and Lewis sing? Favorite Jam and Lewis song? What's your favorite song, period? And then they'll incorporate all those answers into a song and it'd be done.
Wow.
Dope.
Bob,
Yeah,
when
it
you
was
and Bob,
Yeah.
when you and Tim got in there and you knew you were working with Case, because working with Case is not the same as working with Bobby V or working with 112. Case is his own
Right.
artist. He has his own entity. Like, did you guys have conversations on what you wanted to do with Case, or was it just you guys got in the studio and just what came out was what came out?
You know, we kind of like took from like the vibe of like touch me, tease me,
Mm,
meaning like the knocking drums, but
yeah,
still melodic, a strong hook. We kind of wanted to just take that formula, like especially with the up tempos. But we definitely, and that was actually even before Bobby V. That was like way before Bobby V. Actually,
yeah, for
that
sure.
was
yeah, because
about
this was
four or
in
5 years.
2000.
Yeah, that was like
Yep,
four
Yeah,
or
this was in
five years.
2000.
yep.
Yeah, and so this was before him, but it was kind of like, yeah, it's almost like that K sound inspired us for Bobby V's sound. It's like,
Yeah, I can see that.
but we kind of wanted to stay in the vein of touch me, tease me, how missing you felt, and kind of go from there. That's why I like the up tempo, like not your friend,
Yeah,
some knocking drums, bass line, not too much musicality in it, but just like a fun
Just
joint, talk
catchy.
about something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Telling your girl, like, I think your girlfriend trying to holler at me, you need to keep your eye on it. Like talking
right,
about
right.
things that are kind of like, a conversation piece. And so yeah, that's kind of the formula that we try to stick with. And every day, like we was having so much fun in the studio. I personally don't know how we even got through the sessions. We
Yeah,
was
we had fun.
Man, we was having so much fun. I don't even know how we made it through because Case had us dying in there, man.
Yeah,
Dude need to be
it's
doing
fun though, like
comedy
that.
on the screen, man. He chilling now, but man,
No,
some days I
we
don't
do
know
get
how
there
we
having
even made
fun.
it through the sessions. We were laughing so hard, man. We had such a good time though, but we were
Yeah,
still
we did.
getting everything done because we finished everything within 2 weeks.
Like
wow.
it was like that. Yeah. And what's
Yes.
crazy that working with them like that kind of helped me with some other stuff on the album because I had a song that I had for it was the song and the hook. I
Mm,
had the song and the hook for like maybe 6 months, and I could not think of the verses. And so I'm on a flight to LA. This is in July. I think I had to work with y'all a couple of days after that.
mm.
And so
Uh,
I get there. I was like, I'm writing on the plane. Nothing came out. So I landed. I'm like, okay, when I get to the hotel, I'm gonna write it. Got to the hotel, nothing came out. So now I get all the way to the session,
Mm.
and I do the harmonies for the hook. And he's like, "Are you ready to do the verse?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me listen to it one time. I still haven't written it." And he played it for me twice, and I wrote it right then on the spot and did it, and it came out dope. I'm like, but that came
nice.
from once I got in there, I was used to doing it with them, like so. It's just like,
Oh,
and I saw how they
nice.
were
Oh,
doing it,
that's
so it
Wow.
dope.
kind of helped me to kind of get it done like that.
Oh, that's
I was
cool.
panicking, but
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Do you
yeah,
guys remember the conversation you guys had to create Not Your Friend? Because that concept is hilarious to me. And honestly, it was your second single, but that should have been a way bigger hit. I think Def Jam dropped the ball on that
I
one.
know, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
they very much dropped the ball. We had this conversation before.
Yes.
Yeah, they very much
yeah,
dropped the ball.
yeah. They
Yeah,
they did for sure. But a lot of that stuff was like we was talking about stuff that was really happening,
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I'm sure one of us probably was going. Again, I don't remember because that was 20,
yeah. It was
25 good
yeah, that was a
years
long
ago,
time
probably
ago.
more. But yeah, probably if each of those songs, I'm sure is one of us was going through at that time. because we
somebody was
definitely
going through something.
we were speaking about things that we were currently dealing with. And so yeah, man, I think that's probably why everything was flowing so much.
Yeah.
Cause we would sit and talk about real stuff, man, and just like, oh, that'd be a dope concept,
Right.
you know, or this
You
might be
don't have to try that
like,
hard.
yeah, or this might be a little
Yeah.
edgy, but yeah, let's go with that, like with sex games.
Mhm.
And so yeah, man, it was, and that project. That's still one of my favorite projects.
Yeah.
Like in
Yeah.
terms of the whole process, man, it was
fun.
we had a
Yeah.
blast, man.
Yeah, that whole album, that's definitely my favorite album that I've done.
I just wish we would have been documenting it. That's that's like my only regret, that we didn't have like documenting all those days in the studio, man.
Yeah,
Because
that
we
would
was
have
creating
been.
some magic and we was having so much
Yeah.
fun at the same time.
Yeah, we definitely
So,
should have been documenting that. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, man.
Case, for Not Your Friend, I know you mentioned in another interview that song was actually climbing quick up the charts, and then Jeff Jam halted that song to promote another song and another artist. Like, what happened there?
Yeah, they had spent a bunch of money on the promotion for the other artists, and so everybody panicked because that record wasn't going anywhere.
Mm.
And so they was like, look, stop everything else and go get that record.
Yeah.
And when they went to try to get it, it still wouldn't work. And then by the time they doubled back, it was too late.
Wow.
So,
male R&B artist on Def Jam?
Yeah, it was Cisco. Me and him talked about this before. Yeah. It was that it was the one, it was the second album. What's the Can I Live record, the Teddy Riley record? Yeah.
Exactly.
It was that record.
Yeah.
So.
It makes sense.
So yeah, they shut everything down. It was like, we gotta go get that record. And it was, but see, I knew that it wasn't gonna work because I was in the radio station. You know, I was on promo tour. And they would give them Not Your Friend and that record together.
Yeah.
And so I was hearing the PDs, you know, the things that they were saying. So I'm like, when they dropped it, I'm like, damn, yo.
Yeah.
Because it was climbing fast. It was climbing fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was one that you could play in the clubs too. But that leads up to Conversate, which, before we get into the label politics, Case, let's talk about the creation of the song.
Oh yeah, I forgot you know about that story too.
Yeah. But the Conversate, I love, Bob. You got Jazz from Dru Hill singing on the chorus.
Yes.
And then, you know, with
Hold on, this is JoJo calling me. I'm trying to send it to voicemail. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy. He heard us talking about him.
We might have to add him onto this after too. Get his side to all.
Yeah.
Right.
I tell you, he was waiting for me to text him back. He started calling. That's funny.
But Conversate, guys, is like, you got Jazz on the back, you've got Case's soulful vocals, like the vulnerability on that record. I mean, that to me easily should have been a single, but that to me is like the standout track. Like, what do you guys remember about that one?
Yeah. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Case, but I think, because I know prior to working with Case, we had a couple of sessions with Jazz. And I think one of them, we just did a hook. And if I'm not mistaken, that's how that came about. And that's why
it was Conversate. Yeah.
Yeah, but but the rest of the song was just empty. And so yeah, from what I remember, that's kind of like we was like, we should finish this. And then we went from there and kind of like talked about the concepts, you know, of the verses and everything. And then we went ahead and just knocked it out. And I think afterwards, that would have been dope to be in like a duet too. Like if he would have had a verse with you, that would have been dope to do too. Now that I think
that record is just dope. Here's what's funny. I didn't know till maybe we did that in 2000. How about I realized to 2012 that Conversate is not a word.
Me too. Me too. Like
I did not know that. That's funny as hell. That's funny as hell.
Oh
I think
my
one
God,
of my kids was like, "Daddy, you know,
word.
Conversate's not a word." I'm like, "What you mean?"
Somebody said it to me before. They was like, you know, the proper way is converse. I was like, oh, really?
It doesn't work the same though. It doesn't work
as a song. It don't work as a song, but
I think it's funny. I think I ain't trying to pin it on Tim, but I think Tim came up with that hook.
But he's not here, so it was him.
No,
it was definitely him.
Yeah, that was Tim. No, but I think that's actually kind of what's dope about it too. Even after finding out that it ain't a word.
Yeah.
It still sings so good, even though
it feels
you know,
so
some
good.
songs might not read good, but they'll sing good.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Yeah.
ones that sings good, you know.
Yeah, it sings good, definitely.
And the cadence on it, like, kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. But it's funny. It definitely isn't a word.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah.
It is now, right?
But yeah, I love Conversate. Actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, Bob, Conversate was the last song that we did for Open Letter, wasn't it? The last song that I did with y'all for Open Letter. I think Conversate was last.
You're right.
Yeah, that was
I
the
think
last
that
song
was
we
the
did.
last one.
Yep.
It
We
was
did all
either
the other
that
ones.
one or even though. I think those are
No,
the
it wasn't
last.
even though.
It
Because
wasn't
I think
okay.
what we did all the other ones in like the same block of time, and then we had a break, and then I came back and we did Conversate. That's the
Okay.
way I remember it. Because
Yeah.
I think that's when I went and did the stuff with Jam and Lewis, and I finished the other stuff with Redhead, and I was back and forth. And I
Yeah.
think the one
Okay.
last thing that we did was Conversate.
That
Yep.
also that closed it up. Okay, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So Case, I gotta
So
ask you then. There's label politics behind this record. They didn't really push this
Yeah.
one. They were supposed to. Like, give me the background
Well,
on that.
that was supposed to be the makeup for dropping the ball on Not Your Friend. It was like, well, we're gonna put out Conversate in I forgot what month,
Yeah.
and then we had it was a big thing in Miami because I was having a fit. So we were in Miami in the hotel. It was like, I owe you one. We're gonna put out Conversate. I think it was like in 2 months.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. And when 2 months came, I swear he never said that. I'm
Man.
like, you said it in front of 7 people.
oh wow.
I didn't say that.
Oh
You didn't say that.
man.
You sure you didn't
Oh
say
man,
that?
that's crazy.
I'm like, yo, it was 7 people there. He said in front of.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, I was pissed about that. I was pissed about that because like I said, that's my favorite album that I've done from top
Yeah.
to bottom.
Oh
Case,
And
wow.
Case, do I gotta go find Lior? Is he to blame?
nah, it wasn't Lior.
Wasn't Lior?
Nah, it wasn't Lior.
Damn.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Because to me, if that song had come out, and we're playing hypothetical, of course, but that
yeah.
seemed like a definite smash, like no question.
If both of them had been what they were supposed to be, it'd have been over.
Yeah.
It'd have
Yeah.
been over.
Yeah.
Because and it was driving the album so crazy. The album was gold in like 2.5 weeks. And it
Yeah.
was still going when Not Your Friend came out, and then that just tanked the whole thing though.
Man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Man.
Yeah.
Still a great
Man.
song though. But Sex Games,
Yeah.
man. I was just listening to Sex Games earlier today. And Bob, what's crazy about this song is like you could have that song going for like 20 minutes straight and you won't get sick of it. Like there's no structure
Right.
to that song necessarily, but it
Hold up.
doesn't get old. It's crazy.
Bob, do you remember the night we did Sex Games? I had y'all make me a 30-minute version of it with like mutes and drops in it.
Oh, you did? Oh wow,
I
I
had a
didn't even remember
30-minute
that.
version of it. Yeah, I had y'all make it for me before I left. And I went to the hotel.
What?
Yep. And I was reading the
Wow.
Bible at the hotel with this friend of mine.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I had a 30-minute version of Sex Games. It was on CD. I don't know where it is now.
Wow.
I was about to say you
Yep.
still have it.
Nah, it was on
Wow,
CD.
that's crazy.
Everything from CD days you can't find no more. I don't know where. I got a
No.
bunch of stuff that I have no idea where it's
Dang.
at.
A
Yo,
30-minute version.
I
that
had a
joint was
30-minute version.
made.
That's why it's funny that you
That's the
said
whole
that. That
CD
you
right
said
there.
30 minutes. Yeah,
That
it's
joint was
basically.
magical, man. Because
Yeah.
we was really
Yeah.
trying to make it sound. We was really trying to make it like sound really big and like cinematic, like with the big doom doom,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
all the big sounds and like you know through the little analog solo in there, paying homage to Teddy,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah,
era of
yeah.
R&B, you know what I mean? And so yeah, that's what we really wanted to make that feel like, kind of make the how like Teddy, like our old guy record,
Yeah.
because they was, man, they epitomized some kind of joints, man. Like we, just from a producing standpoint, like at that part in our career, especially, we tried to, man, we followed a lot of Teddy's formulas, like, cause Teddy's, man, could nobody slow joints knock like Teddy, man. Like,
Yeah.
of course you had the
Tease Me
guys, you had
Tonight
your
is
R.
what it felt like.
Kelly's, you had your baby, but some about Teddy, like it was almost like Teddy made doing slow joints cool back then. When we met Dallas, the first thing they said to us, do not play us no slow records. That's the first thing they said to us, the moment we met Dallas.
Wow.
Don't play no slow songs. We don't listen to slow songs around here. We was like, man, is he dude serious? We was like,
Yeah.
what? But we was
that's
prepared
crazy.
to play the records. But it's like, man, Teddy, like, he just made the slow joints feel like up tempos. The way they were so fly, the way he did it. And so we always followed Teddy a lot, like with that. And so that was one of the examples where we was kind of like paying homage to Teddy, like without saying it. But that's really, we was trying to make it feel like some old guy, you know, vibed out, almost like a long interlude, you know.
Yeah.
And so
that's exactly what it felt like. Yeah, we had the studio dog, we had the candles.
Yes, man. That was fun,
that was all right. Yeah.
Dope vibes, man.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, that's how that joint came across, man. It's like, man, it was just magical. That whole recording process, man.
Yeah. Who gets the credit for the song title, Sex Games? Who came up with that?
One of them.
I don't know. I don't even know.
That's a crazy title.
I think it was just because that's what was at the end of the hook. Because I can't remember which one of us came out the hook. Is it let's slide on over? I think it was just because it just happened to be at the end of the hook.
Yeah.
And we all figured that'd be a dope name for the joint, Sex Games.
For sure.
And then on vocals, remember, hey, Case, you remember this too? On the vocals, we was trying to make it feel like Prince. You know,
like a door.
We were trying to give it like the Prince feel too. Like with the vocals and how Prince do some of his vocal arrangements with the lower ends and the harmonies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's something else we was paying homage to Prince on that. So
that's the feel that I had from the first time I heard it, was like a Prince joint. Like and that's why I ended up we had candles. I called up chicks to come to the studio.
We had candles in the studio.
Yeah, we had like a million candles. They was like, this is a fire hazard. It's like,
right.
Yeah, we had it was crazy. But it all led itself to the performance and making the song come out the way that we wanted it to come out. So
yeah, you gotta get the vibe right. And you did.
Definitely.
It was dope, man. It was dope.
So what's crazy is as I was listening to this album, Case, Open Letter, even though it was the last track on the album, in a way it was kind of genius on the way that you sequenced the album, because even though it could have been a single, but it also made sense as the closing track. Like
as soon as we did it, it felt to me like that's the best way to close the album would be, because you know what it felt like to me? From the first time I heard it, so it reminded me of like a New Edition song. Like like one of those New Edition songs. And so I'm like, when I listened to everything together, I was like, we have to put this last, because it's like a dope way to close it.
Yeah.
And it's not like you closing it with a throwaway joint. Like the joint is crazy.
Yeah.
And that it brings everything down smooth and like laid back for the whole song, and then the album's over. Like that's what I was hearing from the first time we did it.
Yeah, man. And the concept of that song, like, you know, because that's real stuff you go through, man. You have breakup, and you wonder if you're thinking about each other, man. It's like, that joint is, man. I really like that song too, man.
But you know what?
Me too. It feels good.
You know what? Great. You know what makes that song genius lyrically? Because like in the 90s, you would have records like the Brian McKnight record, Anytime. It's like, do I still cross your mind anytime?
Right.
Flipped it in a way, it's like almost like, I know you still think of me.
Right, yeah.
I'm not asking you. I know you are.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But
Totally.
it's like, I always loved it. And you know what's funny about this, Bob? I don't know if you remember this. Remember at the end of the bridge, I was trying to do something at the end, and I was like, whoa, yeah. And I messed it up a couple of times. So on the record, when I did it, I was like, whoa, and I was like, that's right. And I was pointing at you like, I got it right there. I was like, that's right. And then we kept going. Yeah.
Hey, I do remember that.
Yeah, that's why it's in the record at the end. It goes, that's right. I was pointing at him like, that was
wow,
right.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny you remember that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember that.
And then
that's how much fun we was having in the studio. Like,
man, we had so much
and probably jumped to them, and they probably jumped to me, but it stays on the record. Like, so
yeah,
like,
man.
we were just having a good time in the studio.
Man, had such a good time, man, and we was just in a creative flow, man.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and then the end of the record,
we was just in a zone.
With that guitar at the end, that was crazy. To end on the
song.
Yeah.
I love that song, man.
Oh, that's another one that could have been a single. That could have been the fourth single.
Yes,
if we really wanted to go there. But
good. Wow, nice, man.
Yeah. So
now I'm gonna have to listen to that album like at some point, because I never listened to that music.
I'm gonna have to go back and check it out.
To that album soon.
Oh, yeah. So Case, Open Letter comes out, big album, you go back in, there's some drama with Def Jam at that point after the release of that album. You start working on the Rose Experience. You're still on Def Jam at that time, right? When you start working on
Yep.
Deja Vu and all that.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long after the end of Open Letter do you go into the Rose Experience? Is that shortly after?
When I started, well, I had moved to Atlanta when I started the Rose Experience. No. I think I did Deja Vu because I should have known better that I did, and it was on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I did Deja Vu when I still lived in New Jersey, and then I moved to Atlanta. So it had to be like the end of 2001. It had to be towards the end of 2001. Yeah.
And at that point, no brainer for you to go back in with Tim and Bob.
Yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Deja Vu joint was sick, man.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be the first single off of the Rose Experience, but then I left Def Jam. So.
Ah, man,
I love Deja Vu to this day.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was such a dope joint, man.
It's so different, but it's like it feels.
So it got caught up. So that got caught up in you switching labels, huh?
Yeah, that got caught up in me leaving. Yeah. Because I took the album with me, but it was actually supposed to be the single because we did we did Should Have Known Better.
Yeah.
And because I did the video for Should Have Known Better, and I was living in Atlanta. And so yeah, that's the end of 2001. So we did the video, and then the next single was going to be Deja Vu.
Wow.
And what happened was they was like, "Oh yeah, we love it. We should put Music Soul Child on it." I'm like, "You're not putting nobody on it." I'm like, "You're not putting nobody on it." He's like, "Yeah, because he has that." I'm like, "That's great, and I love music, but you're not putting nobody on this record." So, and that was the second bit of friction.
Wow. You know what I love about Deja Vu is that hook. Like, it's a super unorthodox hook, right? Like, it goes in so many different ways. The melodies it almost doesn't work, but it does work. Like, it's crazy.
It always reminded me of Smokey Robinson for some reason. Like just the way it's written. Oh, it feels like Smokey Robinson. Kind of like you ain't living till you're loving, till you fall. Hey, baby. Like that type of hook that just moves like it. That's what it always reminded me of.
Man,
wow,
I love that joint, man.
Yeah, I love that record.
Nice.
That was a dope.
And then like the rhythm of it is like it drives. The whole record is just driving.
Yes.
It's like it's slow, but it's not slow, like it because it's driving the whole time. Like
yes.
Right.
Love that joint too, man.
Yeah.
Was that the last joint we recorded with you? Deja Vu?
No, actually. Well, yeah, that's the last one that we used. Remember, I came out there to work with y'all to start the new album. I was out there for a week. And I got there Sunday. We did Deja Vu. Then we did some Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Thursday night, everything went to hell. Because I was supposed to stay till the next Sunday. Everything went to hell Thursday night. But we did other joints, but Deja Vu was the first one that we did of those sessions.
Okay.
I don't even remember what the other songs were, actually.
Me either. I'm like, dude, I wonder if we finished them. Or did we just like kind of get like a hook here and there?
Nah, we finished them. We finished them.
Finished the record?
We did a song every day. We did Deja Vu the first day.
Oh man, I wonder what those songs are.
Yeah, we did. We finished them songs. We did a song every day. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit up Tim to see if he has them.
Yeah, Tim might have it. He might have it.
Because if you have all the records that have come out, if they sound like that, I can only imagine what those other records sound like. Would have been crazy.
Yeah, they were dope. They were dope. Yeah, I remember that week.
Everyone was dope, man.
Yeah.
That's just the chemistry we had. Like we were just clicking. Like it was like it was rarely a time when they would play a record and I'm like, you don't know about that one.
Yeah.
So it was rare that I had an idea and they was like, I don't know. Like everything was just clicking and it all made sense to the three of us.
Yeah.
It all made sense to the three of us. Like, yeah.
Right. Sure did.
Right.
Sure did, man.
I was like, this must be what it felt like with Quincy and Michael. Because it was like, it was just clicking. Like, I'm like, and I'd never worked with what's crazy is I was like that with everybody I worked on that album with. Like we clicked like that. And it was crazy.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. How many did you do with Jam them on there? I can't remember.
I did 2, but we only used 1.
Okay.
Like y'all did what, 4 or 5?
Half of it, yeah.
And the other half was me and Redhead Kingpin.
Right.
Yeah.
And and he lived up the street from me. So me and him clicked like that. Exactly. Yeah, we used to be. Yeah, so basically it was y'all and him did the album.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Man, that album's so dope, man.
yeah, I love it.
So
I love
dope.
it.
All right, let me ask you guys this as we wrap this up here, right? Bob, I'm gonna ask you for, I mean, you've already answered what your favorite Case record is, Touch Me, Tease Me. What's the favorite of the batch that
That's-
you created with Case? What's your favorite of that batch?
Ah, man. You know, and I'm not just saying it because it ended up being a big success, but probably missing you because I think that kind of everything that we was trying to say musically, that
Yeah,
said it, like with the music, with the feel, vocally,
Mhm.
with his feel on the vocals,
yeah,
you know, how commercial it really was, even though we was getting opposition on it
yeah,
initially with Joe. It proved to be an absolute smash at radio, still is to this day.
yeah,
So man, it was like I would say that's the most. I would say that one because it's been the most rewarding,
yeah,
you know, and you know that like took everybody's involved career to the next level.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
it did.
so yeah, very grateful for that. But I don't know. I would say between that one and even though,
yeah,
yeah, I
Yeah,
love that even
yeah,
though record. It was so. I
yeah.
think I just find that song so melancholy. Like, and I just yeah, that one. I love that one too, man.
It makes you
Those would be
think.
my two.
That song
Yes, yes.
feels like somebody sitting around like this.
yeah,
Right, contemplate
That's
something.
what. Yeah,
Yeah,
just sitting
right,
around
right,
like
right. So
it.
yeah,
Just feels
that
like
would be my
thinking.
answer.
yeah.
That would be my answer. Yeah.
And proving Kadar wrong probably didn't
I
hurt
mean,
either.
all respect to Kadar. He OG in the game.
Yeah,
Much respect to him. But yeah,
I
he
love
dropped the
proving people
ball on
wrong.
that one. Well, I
yeah,
can't say he dropped the ball because Joe still had the song.
yeah,
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess the song proved itself. I'll just put it like that. It
yeah.
proved itself.
spoke for itself. Spoke for itself.
Right, right. It spoke for itself. So
Yeah,
yeah, man. Blessed, man.
Case, what about
definitely.
you? What's your favorite? First of all, what's your favorite Tim and Bob record? Is it the 112 record? They have so much.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a
Yeah,
because what happened is I'll say one and then in an hour I'll be like, damn, you know what I forgot about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, they
Oh
got too many
man,
records to pick
appreciate it.
a favorite out of all the records they did. That I don't know if I could. Yeah, I don't know if I could pick. I don't know if I
yeah.
could pick one record. It's so many.
I
Right.
appreciate it, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, definitely. They but the favorite record that I did with them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
for me, it's Deja Vu. I think
Mm.
Oh, nice.
like
Yeah.
Nice.
that's the
That's
one record that I sit around and out the blue because I don't listen to my own music, but out of the blue, you know what? I'm gonna listen to Deja Vu.
Right.
wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
That
I
yeah.
love Deja Vu because it's
Yeah,
so
that was
different.
Yeah.
so different,
It
man.
it was different then, and it's still different now
All
from
different
what
now.
everybody's doing.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
dope. You know what I'm saying? It stands by itself, and that's what I always liked about it.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah,
one.
that one was dope, man. That's a good one right
Yeah,
there. Yes,
Right.
sir.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna cap it off with this, right? Because we see the chemistry, we see what you guys are outside of the studio. But if I were to put you two in the studio, lock you guys in up for a week, what do you think comes out of that?
Whew.
Oh, it'd be another missing you for sure.
It'd be a
It'd be
whole
dope.
bunch of stuff. It'd be a whole bunch of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Just,
We're
just
gonna
make
have to
sure he
get
got
together
that
and cook.
acoustic
We're
in
gonna have
there
to
with
get
him.
together and cook again.
Yeah, all day. It'd come right back. It's like riding a bike.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got
Yeah.
to make that happen.
I'm with it. It's
Definitely,
whatever.
man. And by the way, thank you for this, for having us here, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you too,
Yeah, it's
Case.
dope.
For sure.
Yeah, you
Always a
No,
too, man. You
pleasure,
too.
brother.
Yeah, always, always.
absolutely, guys. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out for this. I know a lot of the fans, they want to hear about this stuff. They want to hear about the creative process, and
Yeah,
we have to kick it off with some great stuff. And that's what you guys did together on that album. And hopefully, we get to hear
appreciate
more
you,
from you
man.
guys together. So,